Keeping venomous reptiles is an unforgiving hobby, requiring proper training and lots of experience. One simple mistake can be the difference between life and death. Remember, the most venomous snake in the world is the one that just bit you. There are no venomous snakes with training wheels. Just because you see viperkeeper handle snakes a certain way does not mean you should try it too.
Come on, you want to come out. Here's your chance. Come on. Just trying to stay out of trouble. Very cautious beast. Come on, this will give me a good chance to clean up your cage. Hi. Hi. We don't often do Elvis cam, huh? Come on. Come on, dude. Yeah, it's just the camera. And we know you like to come up over the top of the camera and visit the camera operator, don't you? Huh? Come on. Oh yes, I know. I see that little bit of hood. I'm not going to bother you. Go ahead. Just leave the other inhabitants alone. I know there's a nice sausage in there for you, huh? We'll give Elvis some enrichment. We'll at least let him out in the big room. Bucky's watching Elvis with some excitement and trepidation. Our local boomslangs just do not like to see big snakes crawling around because they have that fear of being eaten. Yeah, I know, Bucky. It's just Elvis. Fortunately, you're relatively safe inside your cage. Just don't get panicky. What are you doing, huh? You decided to come around this way? No, no, no. Put the hood away. I'm not bothering you. Just getting some video for the people. Well, I left the door ajar. That's not good. I hate to have to shut it on his nose. Come on, just go about your business in the room here. And don't knock too many things over. Hello, Miss TikTok. How you doing, huh? Miss TikTok's weak to eat. Ah, we saw that eye move. You're tracking Mr. Rat, huh? It's better than tracking Mr. Hand. She gets fed every other week if she wants to eat. Oh, good. Oh, a strike and release. We wanted to make sure Mr. Rat couldn't bite you, huh? Well, I assure you, Mr. Rat is well beyond biting. I'll just open the oral cavity a little bit in this way. It's easy for her to pick. Up the oral scent to eat. Okay, so we will leave Miss TikTok to dine on her own while we have others to feed. Okay, Miss TikTok finally got around to eating her rat. She had to go all the way around the cage to find it, even though I left it under her nose. This is a big meal. I'll probably not feed her for 2, probably 3 weeks. It's just best not to overfeed your snakes. The only snakes I really feed with some intensity and frequency are the babies, to get them well started. Then you sort of back off on the feeding events. They do look forward to it because, let's face it, being in a cage, there's not a whole lot to look forward to. I recognize that. Makes me a bit sad, but this is the way their life is gone. In the wild, gaboons have been studied, and they only eat once or twice a year typically. Usually a rather big meal, and that holds and sustains them. So they do have better access to food in captivity. No predators to worry about. Not so many diseases and parasites that plague their livelihood. So there are some advantages of captivity. This is an East African gaboon, which are noted by the 2 stripes under the eyes and no horns to speak of. It's the Western variety that has only 1 stripe slanted back to the rear of the jaws and pronounced nasal horns. Now you won't see me doing gaboon cam with her because she's actually taken some swings at me and have totally missed the rat on a stick, so to speak. So I'm very cautious with her. Gaboons can surprise you with their speed, accuracy, and agility. It's not unknown for them to strike completely backwards over their tail, arcing through the air. So one always needs to treat these guys with respect. You don't see me very often doing "I got your tail" with these guys because they could say "I got your finger." It was funny when she was motoring around her cage. She doesn't care about her plants and motored right over top of them, which sort of bothers me because I wonder why my plants don't last long in cages. Well, that's a fine example, and those things aren't cheap. They're $15 or $20 for a nice a bushy artificial plant. TikTok has some very lovely 1.5-inch fangs that we've made jewelry out of. Periodically we have those for sale on the viperkeeper.com website. Usually what we do is we accumulate a batch of fangs from the large bitis, sometimes rhino vipers, sometimes common lanceheads, turn them into jewelry and then post them all, and just so it's a once in a while event. So keep visiting the viperkeeper.com website because we don't normally advertise when we put them up. Now the reason why we named her TikTok is because her eyes go back and forth when she's at rest and in observation mode, letting you know that she's awake and watching what you're doing. She looks like the clock that has the in the shape of a cat, with the tail going back and forth and the eyes going left and right in different directions. So that's why Lori and I name her TikTok. Is that tasty, huh? Sort of holding on here to see if she'll do a big yawn to put her jaw back into place. When they eat big items like that, they do belch quite a bit afterwards because they take in quite a bit of air in the process. Well, it doesn't look like she's going to do much other than just lay there and relax and catch her breath, so to speak, because they have to hold their breath during certain parts of the feeding process because their trachea runs along the digestive tract, and all that pressure, the trachea remains patent, which means open, but is somewhat compressed, as well as the heart and all the blood vessels. It's really a remarkable adaptation of their pulmonary vascular system to maintain homeostasis while they're ingesting large food items. So we're going to stop here and close the door and let her relax. Mr. Forrest Colmer is a little excited about feeding. You want that? I'm not going to play with you. Yeah, you do, huh? Well, you know, with this guy, a lot of times I like to creep in here, and when he's in the trap box, I'll clean his cage, but recently he A, locked himself out of his trap box, and B, hasn't been in there for me to clean. So I'm gonna have to clean a few of the processed rat and chick pellets while he has his mouth full, and I think he doesn't have to worry that I'm going to take it out of his mouth. I'm not going to bother him. Alright, well. Hey bud, how about you go back in your cage, huh? And you notice I'm not doing a selfie and putting my head next to his, even though his mouth is full, because I think that's a mistake. You know, I've done that with Kermit, but Kermit is not a forest cobra. Kermit is a very calm mamba, a one-of-a-kind sort of a snake. So come on, dude, go back in there. I know. I'm touching you. So while he's over there, I'm going to work on this side of the cage. Ah, this cage is a mess, and I don't have a scooper. Well, actually, I think I do. Watch him eat. You let me know if his attitude changes at all. I'm looking sort of at what I'm doing and not necessarily at him. Yeah, I'm cleaning your poop. Just eat your rat and leave me alone. He is a pretty tidy snake. Most of the times he will put his waist at this end. And you just keep munching. Just stay away from
No,
me.
oh, yeah, watch it.
Yeah, I annoyed him by pushing the substrate up against one of his coils. Yeah, forest cobras don't really like to be touched in any way, shape, or form.
Trying to work his way to the head. But he could easily drop that at this point.
Yeah.
Come after you.
Alright, well, since he's slung the coil around this way, and he doesn't like to be touched, I'm going to suspend my activities. Mr. Forest Cobra has shed, mostly, and requires some touch-up work. So hopefully I can occupy his mouth and help him out. And you want that? Well, come on, I don't have all day. There you go. There you go. Now I'm not going to reach over there and grab it with my fingers. I know you don't like this, but just trying to help out. You like even less that I'm going to have to probably grab your tail at some point. And Mr. Sticker. It's winter time and it's a bit dry. Just relax, dude. Yeah, go ahead. Here. I know. Here. Have something to eat. Have something to eat. I know. I see the little head twitch. You're like, you're pissing me off, Mr. Viperkeeper. Go on. Go on. There you go. Let's help him get this started a little bit to the point where it's a little safer to work with him. For a forest cobra, he is actually a pretty nice bloke. Forest cobras really can test one's nerves and abilities to avoid getting bit, because they're really not the most friendly of the cobras. I know, I'm touching you. I'm sorry. They have been known to run even the most experienced keeper out of the room. I know, I'm sorry. Because they're very fast, they're very agile, and they don't hesitate in biting. Do they? Huh? I know, I'm sorry. We're getting there. I don't know if your chin plate is stuck. I do know his tail is partially shed, and I really sort of need to get there and take care of it. Good. That's very nice of you to move your back end out of your hide box. Now his cage mostly gets serviced when he's in his trap box, because it would be really challenging to get him into a bucket, and I'm not really interested in testing my skills. Let's see if we can zoom in on Mr. Forest Cobra. Forest cobras are really quite beautiful, but as I've said, they're really quite tricky to work with. I know. Can I have your back end, huh? Can I have your back end? I know this will really make you unhappy, but really sort of needs to be done. I know. Come on, relax. Please keep your sticker to yourself, see? This has made him somewhat unhappy. He's huffing now, but I don't think he's going to give up his rat. Come on. There we go. I know. I don't often, unlike other people, I don't take my snakes out and do photo showcases and all that stuff. I try to leave them in their cages where they're most happy and relaxed and comfortable. I really get quite concerned when I see people taking photo opportunities with very deadly snakes, especially the forest cobras. These are no joke elapids. Not only are they highly neurotoxic, but they have quite a bit of cytotoxin in their venom and will leave you missing parts of your flesh. So, with that said, we'll let Mr. Forest Cobra enjoy his meal, and we'll move on to our next victim.